a man who works 24/7 doing an amazing job in representing wonderful Israel, and is the absolute driving force behind a thriving embassy. May I please welcome to the stage Ambassador Tzur.
You're mobile. This can happen only in the Israeli embassy, talking through the video conference. Everything is technology. And Sabir Michael, thank you very much for this kind words. You know, you convinced me. I'm planning my visit to Israel, not the country. Distinguished guests, dear friend, ladies and gentlemen, Kia ora, good evening, Erev Tov and Shalom. I'm really happy to see you with us tonight. I welcome you warmly together with Ori. Special welcome to you, Minister Steven Joyce. Yes, they told me to protocol, you have to say all the ministries. He's the Minister of Social Development, and we have for Economic Development, Tertiary Education, and also Associate Minister of Finance. My goodness, you should get double salary at least. This is so many of them. Mr. Minister, I'm really greatly appreciate your strong interest in my country, with whom New Zealand shares much in common. New Zealand and Israel are both young, small nations. We are countries of the future, and we both need to think on our feet to stay ahead of the international game. Tonight, however, Israel is the only of these two countries that has special reason to be thinking about, believe it or not, the Beatles. Some of you, young like me, might know the Beatles song I am thinking about. When I'm 16. This is how Israeli embassy can do these tricks. Because today we also mark the State of Israel's 64th birthday. Thank you. That was great. When you have all these plans, Patricia. Speaking both as an Israeli citizen, as ambassador to New Zealand, I can say that I take a huge pride in what my country has achieved in 64 brief years between its establishment in 1948 until today. We have become a world leader in research and technology, spinning out new companies on the American Stock Exchange. We are recognized everywhere for our innovation and know-how. Even our critics say as much. We are deeply integrated into the global economy, and indeed, this past year, we have recorded one of the highest rates of GDP growth in the OECD countries. It is really a miracle, taking into account that all this Israel has achieved in a little more than a generation since the modern state first rose from the ashes of the Holocaust. We have done it as a country with very little in the way of natural resources, except of our people, of course. We have also done so in spite of significant challenges from outside, not least 6 major wars. Hope no more. But we have also had challenges from the inside too. One of the major issues for us has been how to absorb millions of newcomers into the country with about the same size as the landmass from Wellington to Levin. Tiny little. Dear friend, during the past year, there have been important intersections between our countries, including high-level New Zealand delegation to Israel, keynote Israeli guest in New Zealand, and an array of cultural events involving both countries. Of course, as already mentioned here, our work done also involved not only New Zealand, but the 4 Pacific Island nations, Samoa, Tonga, Cook Island, and Niue. All places that have become charmingly familiar to me over the past 18 months. To remind us of this, yes, we have these beautiful singers which will share with us that magnificent Pacifica culture. Dear friend, for me personally, one of the big highlights on the New Zealand front has been the successful establishment of a digital learning center at Linwood College in Christchurch. This has been an initiative that the embassy has been involved with from the start. Those of you who were here last year will recall that this was a plan that grew out of the tragedy of Christchurch. That earthquake that left so many people dying there. And our desire was to create something positive in place of this great tragedy. So here came that center. And the center is working. At the center, it was being opened by Mayor of Christchurch, Bob Parker, in February. And I can tell you it's amazing. This technology already helped the student do not need any longer to travel hours to another school to obtain information, and made contact with students in school in Ness Tziyona, called Paula Ben Gurion School, same size schools, same ages, talk to each other, teachers and students. It's amazing. By the way, the school has been chosen because in that school battle, it was Anzac Day yesterday. In that school, that hill, a battle took place in 1916, and there involved many of your people. And the 2 years ago, foreign minister visited and inaugurated a monument in honor of those Anzac soldiers, Kiwi soldiers who lost their lives there. So we are now making that contact between the children of the next generation. How wonderful. Speaking of young people, another new initiative this past year has been New Zealand Working Holiday Scheme, which will see up to 200 Kiwis a year enjoying their OE in Israel for up to 12 months. The scheme also allowed 200 Israelis to do the same in New Zealand. This is a historic first for Israel, and we are proud to have achieved it with New Zealand. So I see here many young faces. Take advantage of that scheme. Go enjoy it. It's really, I'm not so biased, but it's a little bit. It's really a beautiful place. On the trade front, we have seen a lot in new activities too. With trade relationships between our countries up by 27% on the same time last year. Our embassy has hosted a number of small business seminars. We have worked with the Ministry of Science and Innovation and the Prime Minister Chief Scientist, Professor Sir Peter Glagman, to bring keynote Israeli high-tech leader or engaged to Auckland and Wellington to lecture and meet with business and political leaders. We were also closely involved with last month's visit to Israel of New Zealand Trade and Enterprise delegation. I saw Hamish and he was too afraid, so immediately he said it was a beautiful visit. So yes, I believe it was a beautiful visit, interesting visit. Following the success of this visit, you should know that we are currently working with another delegation led by the Auckland University of Technology that will be in Israel this coming summer to forge new academic and business links. New Zealand business leaders, innovators, and scholars will also visit or be represented at all Israel's major industrial fairs in 2012, including gathering devoted to biomed, agri-tech, and homeland security, all fields that Israel gained lots of experience and knowledge in them. Politically, official visits to Israel are also in the pipeline, including a visit by the Foreign Minister, Mari Bekali, very soon, and followed by inter-parliamentary, cross-party parliamentary delegation, and we have also the mayor of Christchurch, Bob Parker, going, and we are busy with visit of Minister of Agriculture and Trade, which hope will take place this year. Lots of work, but proud and happy about it. Among the agreement we are keen to see happen is one allowing for greater cooperation and collaboration between the film industries in both countries. I'd like to think of this one as a Middle Earth might meet Middle East kind of deal. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, not everything happening in the Middle East this year has been a pretty picture. These past 12 months have seen my region subjected to instabilities across many nations. New Zealanders often ask me what the future holds. But truly, and the truth is, I can't say. I can say, however, that Israel wishes that there will be more and more democratic states around us, vibrant democracies that will be committed to upholding democratic principles and values, representing the right of their citizens, and living at peace with us. Such a peace, which is our aim, our dream, and for which we all pray, especially includes a lasting peace with our partners and our neighbors, the Palestinians. Haverim Ikarim, dear friend, during the past year, I've been taking the opportunity to visit not only the largest New Zealand cities, but have also the pleasure of being welcomed to Hastings, Napier, Masterton, and I saw the mayor here, welcome, Palmerston North, Queenstown, and many others, in all which I have met with mayors, businessmen, farmers, academia, and cultural representatives. I have been encouraged by the warmth of their friendship and by their interest and genuine desire to develop close ties with Israel. I have a great pride in tremendous support of New Zealand Friend of Israel associations, and there are many of them here in New Zealand, and their network stretching from the far north to the southland. Well, I have spoken about economy, culture, politics, and now to the real issue, rugby. And I am pleased to inform that the Israeli Rugby Union, with very much of help of Tony, where is it, Tony? Yes, the Israeli Rugby Union has approached the New Zealand Rugby Union for assistance in training Israeli players, and these initiatives look set to start later this year. Well, I'm not sure that we will meet in the finals in 2015, but I can tell you, knowing the Israelis, you just give them a target. Be careful. Well, I really could speak more and more about what we are doing together. But like New Zealanders, Israelis enjoy celebrating and partying, and we are proud to celebrate with you our 64th birthday of Israel as an independent democratic state. Thank all of you for coming and sharing this very important celebration for us with us. Thank you.